are the two most important values you demonstrate as a leader? And can you tell us a story that demonstrates these leadership values in practice in your workplace?
Well, I first of all believe that you need to demonstrate leadership in absolutely everything that you do. And if true great leaders take leadership roles in almost all aspects of their lives. And so when you see a problem that needs a solution, a leader is going to proactively seek a solution to that situation. And one of the problems that I was facing as I moved into my community in the north end of Halifax, drugs, violence, and prostitution were some of the issues that our community was facing on a regular and ongoing basis. And all of the leadership in the community was pointing to policing as being the only solution for those situations. I strongly felt that in order for our community to grow, our business community needed to connect with the organizations in our district that were providing the much needed support for the people that struggled in our community. And when I felt was very much alone on that, I decided that I was on my own going to partner with organizations that enhance the quality of life for people who are living on the streets on Agricola. I launched a breakfast program for inner city kids. I partnered with Add Some House to help secure stable housing for homeless women, partnered and supported initiatives by Stepping Stone, which provides outreach for women in the sex trade. And then, funnily enough, we started to see fewer homeless people. We started to see women employed in the sex trade being able to have opportunities in their lives. And we started to see fewer at-risk kids in the neighborhood. And I think that is the type of community leadership that people are looking for. If there is a problem and you're a good leader, be open to seeking the best possible solution.
I think there's two parts to leadership in my view. And I define leadership as this: the ability to have people understand the importance of an issue, believe it's their own initiative that caused it, and then move to get things done. I think collegiality is really important, and decisiveness and being able to stick to a decision once it's made are also very important. And as I say, other members of Parliament from other parties, Conservative and Liberal, even the Bloc Québécois who were on the committee with us, have identified that we were able to move the ball on some issues that really mattered to me because I was able to demonstrate they mattered to other people as well. So I guess I would go to an example of being on the Human Resources Committee of the House of Commons. Now, I don't know if you guys pay attention to federal politics, but it's pretty slimy these days in Canada for the last number of years. It has been a very, very polarizing place in the House of Commons. I was the vice chair of the Human Resources Committee. I worked with a very reasonable chair. The chair of a committee is always from the government party, that was the Conservative Party. I worked with a man by the name of Dean Allison, who was the MP from Niagara West, Glanbrook, a reasonable guy. And as vice chair, we were able to forge consensus on issues. The Hill Times, in fact, referred to us as the committee that worked, in spite of all the polarizing influences on Parliament Hill, because we saw the bigger picture and we were able to bridge objectives. I wanted to do a study on poverty in Canada, making some real recommendations on how we can break the cycle of poverty in Canada. It took us a long time, and working with another colleague, Tony Martin, who was an NDP member from Sault Ste. Marie, we were able to get it approved that would go on the agenda, and we spent 18 months on a groundbreaking poverty study in Canada, which was acknowledged by many as the way that Parliament is supposed to work. It is supposed to work. Parliament is supposed to work. And I think if you look at City Council in Halifax, we can do the same thing. We can take councillors from across this municipality and sit down and as mayor, I would want to say, these are the things that matter to me. These are the things I'm campaigning on. Now, what matters to you? And first of all, establish a relationship so that decisions can be made, so we can share information, develop a process that has integrity, and then when a decision is made, we can stick to that decision. If there's one thing I think HRM needs to do better, we have lots of plans, we need to stick to them better, and I think if there's integrity in the process, we can do that. I'm confident that we can get that done.
I have to go back to my career to answer that. Examples of being a good leader. To me, a leader is somebody that people will gravitate towards, people will follow without being directed to do so. A true leader to me is someone who leads and many of the people don't even know they're being led. That to me is a true leader. That's a strong leader. Someone who's barking orders, telling you what to do, that's a boss. There's a big difference between the two. The case that comes to mind, the situation that comes to mind is, I got myself in a little bit of trouble with this one, it had to do with a homicide case I was working on. Actually, I was working on 5 of them. And management came in and shut me down. They shut down the procedure. They didn't ask me what progress was made. They didn't ask me how we were doing. They didn't ask me anything about the facts at issue. They decided it was time to shut it down. And I think what bothered me the most was the person who shut it down never worked an investigation in their life. They were promoted to a position, but they never worked it. I spoke up against that internally, and I got no results. And then in 1996, I spoke up against it externally in the media. And actually, I think it was Stephen Kimber that covered the story. And I criticized the department. And to my knowledge, I was the only sworn member to ever, in the media, criticize the department for doing something wrong. And at the time, they had 25 outstanding homicides. And I said to them, if you do not change how you're doing business, these numbers are going to drastically grow. They didn't. Unfortunately, today we have over 60. I think that was a sign of a good leader. So a leader who wasn't afraid to rock the boat. A leader who wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo. And I took some heat for that, but I would do it again tomorrow. I wouldn't hesitate for a second.